from this motion, I would like to present another motion for the board to consider. I will read it, and
Okay.
if it's acceptable to be on the table.
And it's arising from the matter
From the
discussed?
motion, yes, from the matter discussed.
Okay, proceed.
And I will, then if it's seconded, then I will pass it on to Beth or our secretary to put it on.
Okay, thank you.
Motion, I move that the board affirm its commitment to inclusivity by supporting educators in providing learning opportunities that help students develop as informed, responsible, and compassionate global citizens. Parents are, and as always, recognized and valued as partners in education, and that the educators continue to exercise their professional judgment in selecting age-appropriate and relevant material when addressing topics such as sexual orientation, gender identity, and other protected grounds under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms and the BC Human Rights Code.
Okay, seconded by trustee Kandarajwan.
Would you like a copy or should
We're just going to take a pause while our secretary adds that to the electronic school board so that it can be visible on the screen and on our laptop so that everybody can have a clearer review. While our secretary is doing that, trustee Rai, would you like to open your debate?
Yes, please. I can do that.
Certainly.
This motion is about reaffirming who we are as a learning community. It's about inclusion, understanding, and respect, value that lies at the heart of public education. Every student in our schools deserves to feel seen, valued, and supported. Our role as board members, educators, parents, and community members is to help them grow into compassionate, informed, and responsible global citizens. This motion also highlights the importance of partnership. Like I said before, parents are and always will be valued partners in education. When families and school work together, our children benefit most. It also recognizes the professionalism and integrity of our educators. We trust them and encourage them to use their judgment in choosing age-appropriate and relevant material when teaching subjects like sexual orientation, gender identity, and other protected rights, all guided by the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms and the BC Rights Code. At its heart, this motion is about creating schools where every student feels a sense of belonging, where kindness, curiosity, and understanding guide how we learn and grow together. You know, at the heart of this motion is something really, really simple. Make sure every student feels they belong. It's about inclusion, understanding, and respectful, and the values that define who we are as a school community and as a community at large.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And how are we doing over there? Okay, all right, should be in front of you. And as soon as it is in front of us, I will turn to trustee Kandarajwan. Yeah, there it is. All right, trustee Kandarajwan, we're just want to make sure that trustee Kaler has, there we go. Trustee Kandarajwan, would you like to speak to the motion? No, thank you. All right, do we have any other speakers to the motion? Trustee Roach.
Yeah, just a question. It's been common practice for us to require a notice of motion ahead of time to put a motion on the table. And this motion is quite clearly different from the other one. So I'm just wondering why that's not the case with it. You know, we've all seen this motion for the first time, and several of us have been asking the board to sit down and talk about this subject for the last month while this motion sat on the table. And all of you have declined to have any casual conversation about it. So it just feels like this is just surprise. Here we are with a new motion that several of you have clearly talked about already. It sounds like this has been discussed by some of you, but not all. So
before I recognize trustee Rai, it is my jurisdiction as chair to accept motions, and I have in the past from other discussions. It is a request that notice of motion comes forward. When it was offered to Trustee White last time to not have it as a notice of motion, but to have it as a motion in September, that was declined. So with that, being that case, Trustee Rai, I know you had your hand up, but are you wanting this to be a motion this evening or a notice of motion?
No, I would like to have this motion, this meeting. I had a couple of motions ready, depending on which way the vote went. And based on that, I presented this motion, and it's in front of you. It's quite clear, like we can talk about it, but I think that I'll stop there.
Okay,
I would like it to be presented now.
And thank you for answering the question.
Yeah, motion to table. I think I'm
So
allowed
you
to do
need to
that.
pick a date
Motion to table until the next board meeting,
until the November board meeting.
November board meeting.
Is there a seconder for that?
Yeah, I would second that. I think it needs, I don't even understand exactly what this motion is. I was going to take some time to wrap my head around it.
Thank you. So there is no debate. So everyone who, all in favor of tabling the motion to November, please raise your hand. There are 3, 4. So those opposed. No, it's not. It's voted on. Yes, it is. So 3 that are in favor, opposed? 4. Do you have that?
We do.
Okay, thank you. So that motion to table is defeated, and we return to the main motion. Comments from the table on the main motion? Trustee White?
Well, I'd like to ask a couple questions, can I, to try to
You may ask
understand
a
this?
couple
Yeah, so I
questions.
mean, the first question, I guess, would be, is Trustee Rauch correct? Has this motion been discussed among other trustees prior to tonight?
Trustee Rai?
Not in a meeting or anywhere like that. We just maybe I talked to 1 or 2 people that I might put this motion or that motion, but it wasn't discussed as that. Do you like this motion? Do you don't like this motion? That kind of stuff. So it was discussed with a few, but it wasn't discussed. Okay, you got to say yes to this, or you got to say no to this. That kind of
No,
stuff.
but there were trustees that knew that a motion like this might come up tonight, correct?
Depending on what happened at the vote.
Okay.
But not all the details. No,
Okay, which trustees were those?
that I would like not to share.
Okay. Well, my second question would be, it seems, am I reading this correct? Because it does seem to be a direct counter to my motion. It would seem to suggest that even though parents are recognized and valued as partners in education, that it would be solely up to the professional judgment of teachers, and parents would not be involved in, when sexual orientation or gender identity resources are used. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct. That is completely false. I did not, it does not say, it says that it'll be depending on the professional judgment of the teacher, with age appropriateness and everything, whether they talk to the parents or not. It'll be because they are being trained, you and I have not been.
Okay.
So we leave it to their professional judgment.
So just to be clear, if this motion goes forward, then we'd be kind of codifying that teachers in the Abbotsford School District have carte blanche over sexual orientation and gender identity resources. They can use what they want, when they want, and they can either choose to inform parents or choose not to inform parents. Is that correct?
I'm not allowing you to answer that, Trustee Rai,
Why?
because the question is not specific to Trustee Rai. There are other implications to this, including that it is already in our administrative procedures that parents are to require advance notice, and that this is already something that exists in our district already. This is an affirmation, it sounds like to me in what I'm reading. It is actually says that the Board of Education affirm its commitment. So this is not an individual Trustee Rai moment. This is a.
I'm not asking his personal opinion. I'm asking what the motion means, so I can know whether to support it or not.
Okay, Trustee Rai.
It means what is written there and what I have explained. I can't explain better than that.
Okay, but I asked a clarifying question, so do I need to ask it again?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so what I want to know is, does this now formalize that teachers have full control over what sexual orientation and gender identity resources they use and whether or not they inform parents?
No.
Like Chair Wilson said, this is already in our APs and in other places. It's just affirming that this is how we are doing this. It does not mean anything. And if there's an inappropriate behavior by any staff or any educator, that always comes to the table. And there's processes for that. So I'm not saying this way or that way. I'm just affirming what's in our policies and in our procedures.
Okay, but I heard you say no, Shirley.
No,
So-
to your question is that it is not doing anything new other than affirming what already
Well,
exists.
no, I understand that. I'm just asking what it's affirming. Is it affirming that teachers have full control over which sexual orientation and gender identity resources they
Yes.
use? Okay.
Yes.
So is it also affirming that teachers can choose whether to inform parents of that or not?
No.
Okay, so you're saying there are some cases where they would have to inform parents on this?
Where we have administrative procedures, which are in the spirit and intent of the board, which are also in the spirit and intent of legislation, ministerial orders, et cetera, that provide that, and in our AP specifically, that parents are to be notified in advance of sensitive materials. That, what I'm reading in here is that is up to professional judgment when it comes to the matter of sexual orientation and gender identity. But there are matters where, for instance, sex education. So we just need to be careful and cautious that we don't isolate one from the other.
Well, I understand that, but when it comes to sexual orientation and gender identity, so do teachers have full authority over whether or not to inform parents that they're going to be using resources on that topic?
Not if the matter is sensitive, they will provide advance notice. If it is not sensitive, then no, they do not have to, nor are they required.
Okay, so who decides whether it's sensitive or not?
Professional judgment, and if
Of the teachers?
If the teacher errs, then there are processes in place of which teachers can be brought forward for discipline.
So you're suggesting a teacher could be disciplined for using one of the SOGI 123 resources if it's deemed to be too sensitive?
Trustee White,
I want to understand.
you said sexual orientation and gender identity resources, not SOGI 123. I'd like to be clear that when you search that on the internet, there are millions, hundreds of thousands of resources available. This
Sure.
is not limited to SOGI 123.
I'm just using that as an example in my
As an
question.
example. So I'm just trying to answer your question.
Okay, so my question was, it sounds like you're saying there could be cases where a teacher, if they were using a SOGI 123 resource, that it could be deemed as sensitive and they might get something in trouble. Is that what you're saying?
If it comes to the attention of our senior staff and our senior staff are concerned, they will handle it in the way that they are supposed to, in the manner of which they're required to do so already, which is already in an administrative procedure.
Okay.
Okay? Any other, Trustee Roach?
Yeah, when we say age appropriate, one person's age appropriate is different from another family's potential age appropriate. And SOGI 123 clearly lists that all the materials are developed in an age appropriate way. And I know many families in Abbotsford would not feel that what SOGI 123 recommends as age appropriate would not be appropriate for their family, or that they would at least like to know about it if their child is being taught this lesson plan. So I think it would be much more clear and predictable for teachers and our staff if we had a clear recommendation to engage with parents, and then it takes any mystery out of things.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, the motion is in front of you. Unless I see anybody else, I'm going to ask Trustee Rye to close. You still have a question?
Yeah, no more questions. I just wanted to sort of understand it before I think now that I've had my questions answered. I guess so now I'd make my comments. Parents are always recognized and valued as partners in education. We say that a lot here, but when push comes to shove, we vote against motions that would require parental involvement, that would require parental notification without any explanation. Nobody around this table has given any rationale for why they voted against that, for why they think it is somehow, wrong or inappropriate or not a good idea to inform parents. There's a lot of people that don't like the SOGI 123 resources and other SOGI resources for very good reasons. Because they do act as a bit of a Trojan horse. I mean, we've seen some of those books that have been literally in our school system. That, we've had past superintendents who have said this book was appropriate, and it was in a middle school, and it was introducing kids to adult sex apps. So I don't understand why we wouldn't assure the public, we wouldn't assure people that we are going to make sure parents are fully informed. And so this motion seems to be, it was planned, right? So you knew exactly what you were going to do, whether or not the motion failed or passed. Motion failed, this was the plan. This was, a bunch of people got together and planned this. But I suppose the bottom line is, I don't believe you when you say parents are always recognized and valued and partners as education. I would really like to see this board start acting on that instead of just saying it, because clearly by, not even giving a reason for why you would vote down, which I think most people in this community would say is just common sense. Let parents know. We're not even saying you can't use the resources. We're just saying, let parents know, let them be a part of the conversation. And you guys said, no, we don't want that. We want teachers to have the full professional judgment on that and no requirement. So I will absolutely vote against this. I think the whole manner in which it came about is unfortunate. I imagine you guys have already talked about it and will vote for it, but I will definitely be voting against it. And I'm very, very sad to see this motion here, sad to see the way my fellow trustees are acting.
Thank you, Trustee White. And is this your closing statement?
I will close. I would
Okay.
like to reassure Trustee White that this motion is just me. I did not say to any trustee or anybody that this is what I'm doing, what do you think? No, it is me, that motion. I did talk to some trustees or other people as well that this is what I'm thinking and I'm going to do this. I didn't say, how do you feel? So this motion is just me. So I would like to correct that, what you're insinuating, that somehow I've made a big plan of going under the table and doing whatever. So it was not the case. Now I will close. Our teachers and staff work every day to help students grow into caring, informed, and responsible global citizens, and parents are such an important part of that. When families and educators work together, our kids thrive. This motion also reflects trust in our educators to use their professional judgment while choosing age-appropriate material, and trust that these choices will reflect the principle of Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedom and the BC Human Rights Code. At the end of the day, it's about creating a learning environment where every teacher, every child feels safe, respected, and inspired to understand the world around them. That's close.
Let's close.